Hello, everyone. Today we are going to be doing a read aloud of the book A Manny's Moon, and the author is Janae Brown Wood, and the illustrator is Hazel Mitchell. So on the next screen, we're going to see a picture of the cover of the book A Manny's Moon, and we're going to be thinking about what we think the story is about just by taking a look at the cover. So here's the cover, and let's really notice who we see on the cover and what we see on the cover to answer the question, what do you think this story will be about? You have a sentence starter to help you answer the question, I think this story will be about blank because blank. So I'm noticing that there is a big moon on the cover of this book and a character on the cover. And the book is called A Manny's Moon. So in my thinking, I think that the character's name is a Manny and it's going to be something about a Manny and the moon. So that's what I think the story is going to be about. So today we're going to be reading this book on epic. So I'll go ahead and get epic opened up for us while we start the book. And on the first few pages of this book, all I'm going to ask us to do is really be thinking what we notice about this character, Manny, and how she's feeling at the beginning of the story. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the book, A Manny's Moon. So here is the first page, and it says, A Manny was the smallest child in her village. Look at tiny Amani, the other children teased. She's no higher than a lion cub's knee. Careful, they called to her. Don't let the meerkant stop on your head. Minnie Amani, you'll never accomplish anything. Day in and day out, the children teased her, and Amani began to believe them. So let's take a pause here just for 1 second and think about what we've noticed about Amani just by reading the first few pages of the story and how we think she feels at the beginning of the story. So our question that we're really thinking about here, well, there's two questions. What do you notice about Amani and how do you think she feels at the beginning of the story? And you can use this sentence starter to help you out. So one of the things that we might have noticed about Amani is that she is the smallest person in her village, and people even teased her about that. So how do we think she was feeling when people teased her about being the smallest person in the village? She's probably feeling pretty sad. And if we even zoom in on this picture here, we can see in her face that she's looking sad and she's kind of cuddling up to her dog to give her some comfort. So I definitely agree with those things that we said in this part of the story. So let's go ahead and continue reading this story and see if any of these feelings with Amani change. Every night, Amani's mama lifted her spirits with stories. This night, Mama told her of Olapa, the goddess of the moon who fought a great battle against the god of the sun and triumphed. Do you think I could do something great like Olapa? Asked Imani. I do, answered Mama. Even something like touching the moon? Even that, said Mama, but it is you who must believe. Mama kissed her forehead. Usiku mwema. Good night, Imani. Good night, Mama. That night, Olapa and Imani battled side by side in Imani's dreams. Together, they protected the people of Earth from danger, flew through the sky, and guarded the moon. Imani stood tall and brave on the moon with Olapa beside her. The next morning, Imani awoke, inspired to do something great. Today, she told herself, I will touch the moon. So let's take another pause here because where we left off at the beginning of the story, we said Imani was feeling really sad and really affected by some of the things that people in her village were saying about her. Do we think Imani's feelings changed after talking with her mom and dreaming about Olapa? And how do you think they changed if you notice that she had a change in feelings? So you can go ahead and use this sentence starter again to help you out with this question here. I agree. Amani doesn't seem so down in the dumps anymore, so her feelings did change. She feels really inspired and determined to make her dreams come true. So let's read just a couple more pages here and see what else we notice about Amani and her journey. Later that day, Amani made her way through the village. Look, it's Amani the ant, called one of the teasing children. Where are you off to? Teased another. Going to catch a ride on a beetle's back? I'm going to the moon, answered Amani. The children laughed and followed her. As the moon grew brighter in the late day sky, Amani began to climb the tallest tree. The bark scraped her small hands and legs. On a branch above, Nyoka, the snake, appeared. What's going on? He hissed. I am going to touch the moon, answered Amani. That's impossible, Nyoka jeered. It's much too high. Amani climbed on. As she got higher and higher, the climbing became harder and harder. She stretched herself to reach the next branch, but lost her footing and fell to the ground with a thump. Maybe I won't touch the moon, she sighed. So far in the story, we know that at the beginning she was feeling really sad because of the way people in her village were treating her. But then, after a talk with her mom and a dream about touching the moon, she was feeling really, really determined to do something great. And when we just read, we noticed that she did not meet her goal of touching the moon that day. So there's still a lot more left to this story. But for today, we're going to stop right here and leave off on the question. Do you think Amani is going to give up on her dream to touch the moon? Why or why not? So we're going to make a prediction here and guess what happens next. So there might be some people who think, yes, I think Amani is going to give up on her dream. She is done. And there might be some other people who are thinking, no, I do not think she is going to give up on her dream. She is going to keep trying. So right now, let's just take a second to think about how we feel and what we think is going to happen next in the story, and then we can share with the whole class once we have an idea. Okay.